Okay, so now comes the time to do a quick photo review. There's somebody in my Discord that posted some photos. I asked him if I could do a blind react to them. So I'm going to do them. I'm going to provide some feedback. Just from the thumbnails, they look pretty good. So I don't know if I'm going to have really any feedback to give, but maybe I'll have, some tidbits of information that you can glean some helpful information from. So let's switch over to desktop view here. Okay, so not too bad at all. Kind of looking in here a little bit closer. First things that I noticed is on the right side of the image here, this doorway is cut off, and ideally what we want to do is we want to actually keep the, like, if there's something in the frame, we want to showcase the end of that doorway. So if the doorway in here is visible on the right side but then it cuts off, we have no way of knowing of exactly how large that doorway is, if it's a double wide doorway or whatever. Rule of thumb, I would just scoot back just a little bit and then show the rest of the room. Structurally though, it looks like this shot was taken a little bit low. If we go back in here, we're a little bit too close to the bottom of this dining table, and these windows and this door, I'm guessing, but all these doors look super tall. So ideally we want to have the camera, I'm 5'8", and the camera comes up to about, right here, and then I'm looking down on it. That's about the right height. The goal is to go for like a 50-50 floor to ceiling ratio, and that'll kind of give you the best look. But if we're back in here, also the lights, you've got these lights on back at the in this other room, but then these lights are off right here. So it's either got to be all lights on or all lights off. There can't be a mixture of both. Also, the camera was tilted a little bit upwards, and how you can figure that out is by looking at it. This kind of looks a little bit skewed right here, but what really gives it away is the distance. So in any of your images, you have to look for V's. So if it's a regular V like this, and I'll show you where to look for in just a second, but if it's a regular V like this, that means that the camera was tilted up. If it's an upside down V like that, then that means the camera was tilted down. And we can see that right here. If you measure the distance with the bottom right here to the edge of the image, and then the top right here to the edge of the image, this distance is further away than the distance right here. So that tells me that the camera was tilted up, because that's a normal V shape right there, okay? So in this image, I think I would have just backed up a little bit more, turned the lights on, raised the camera up, and then ensure that your verticals are correct. What you can do is you can head into Lightroom Classic, and you can go to the Transform tab, and then click Guided, and then it'll like let you click, and you can click right here, and then you can follow this vertical line and click right here, and then you can click right here and follow this vertical line all the way down here, and it will fix the verticals entirely. This looks nice, although again, it's just far too low. I mean, the thing that's taking up the majority of this image is the back of a couch, and that's not interesting. Ideally, we would have raised the tripod up, I think maybe another foot. I think you have it extremely low, and then showcase the focal point of the room, which is the living room, not necessarily the couch. And you've got these chairs right here. I would have moved these, but I don't think you could move them because there was a little, bar top right here. Go closer to the living room, shoot above the couch, or better yet, you could be right here and do a straight on shot of this really cool spot. Again, lights, you've got this light off right here. I don't think this has a light, but then these lights are all on. This light is on, so either all lights on or all lights off. This one is a little bit better as far as the left side here goes, because we can see the end of the doorway. Again, you got lights off right here. You got lights on right here. You got to be smooth and consistent across the board. It's interesting. A little office setup and then PS5 setup. When you're right here, though, I would have just turned the camera to the left and focused more on seeing the doorway and a little bit of the wall on the left side, because this right here is taking up prime real estate that we don't really care about. We don't really want to see this, and especially because you have the camera so darn low, which this would be fixed if you just had the camera at, 5 foot 4 inches from the top of the camera to the floor. That would be ideal. But the verticals are good. This one, a little bit better, but again, it's a lot of the back couch. I would have moved a little bit more forward, rotated the camera so you can see this side a little bit more so than this side. And again, you got these lights on, but you've got all these lights off, the kitchen lights off. So what you have to do when you're going into a property, as your first thing that you do when you walk into a property, is you need to set it up. Don't even take your camera out of your camera bag. You can set your tripod down, walk throughout the house, turn on all the lights, pull up all the blinds, take all the toilet lids and put them down. Get the property ready before you start shooting, because if you start shooting immediately and you just flip on a couple of lights, you'll run into a scenario like this where you forget to turn on lights here, you forget to turn on lights there. Some lights are on, some lights are off. This is a really nice house, so these images could have come out really, really good, but it's just a little bit lackluster because of the effort that wasn't put in. Also, we want to see, and while you did do that for this image, we want to see two corners at all times, but in this case, I think the thing that I would have done is I would have rotated, if I did a shot from this exact angle, which I don't think I would have done, I would have rotated the camera to the right and then shown the end, which it looks like there's a little dining room right here. So we'd want to see more of this side of things, and maybe even I would have taken it from right here and done a straight on shot towards this. That's fine. In cases where there's a glass door right here, I'm just going to open that glass door, because either that or you do Adobe Generative AI to get rid of the reflection. But if this glass door is open, you're not going to see your reflection in the stone quite as much. But again, camera height is just far too low. It looks like it's like four feet off the ground. So lift that up, another foot. So ideally you want to be able to see a little bit more of these lights. You don't need to see all of them. Verticals wise, yeah, better. This is fine. Rotate a little bit more to the left. In this case, you can see these two corners right here, which is good. The camera again is just far too low. This big wall, which is taking up almost a quarter of the image, is less important than this side of things. So I would have had the image end about right here, and then have a whole lot more on this side to see. And it doesn't matter if you see your camera and tripod in the mirror, because you can edit it out with Adobe Generative AI. Also, I always put these at like a 45-degree angle down, so they'll look like this. It'll just be slat. So you can see a little bit outside, but it's not in your face outside. Like, especially with these where you can't really open them, because they open like kind of like an accordion. They fold, and then the bed is in the way. You will want to be a little bit more, just open them up a little bit, just to showcase a little bit more light coming in. Okay, pictures like these move into the room, okay? So we don't want to see this. We don't want to see the back of a monitor. We don't want to see this right here. The camera, like the tripod, can start like right here, and then you can be shooting in. But I mean, the camera, I think these standard height, are 32 inches off the ground. So I think you're at 3.5 feet, 4. I think you're like on your hands and knees taking these photos. So go for a 50-50 ceiling to floor ratio. Remember to turn on the lights. Push in a little bit more. Raise your camera's tripod height. This is fine. Hallway shots, not super necessary. If I do hallway shots, then I'm going to turn I don't typically like to do straight on hallway shots. I'll turn the camera so that I can see in this room, and then this far room is on the left side of my image. So I can see into the door right here, and then the very edge of the photo is the far room right there. Overall, pretty solid. I don't know if this was your first shoot that you ever did. The editing is on point. I'd imagine you maybe outsourced, or maybe you're good at editing or something. Keep on all the lights. What it can come down to is prep the house. Walk into the house, do some prep work, set yourself up for success. Turn on all the lights, and really, you want the camera's tripod height to be about 5.5 feet from the top of the camera to the floor. And then in most cases, that'll give a good 50-50 floor to ceiling ratio. And then just don't cut off different parts of the image. Again, if we're back to this photo, we want to see the end of this. We want to see more of this doorway. We want to get a feeling of the house, because the whole goal in real estate photography, and photography specifically, is to showcase the property at a glance in a tour setting. So you'd start outside, and then you'd show the inside facing the front door, and then you'd turn the camera around and show the living room, and then you'd go to the other corner and you'd shoot that way, and then you'd continue it on in a logical progression of a tour, so someone can see kind of what the house is outlined as. Because if it's just photos of subjects like a dining room, or photos of a couch, or if it doesn't give a good picture, for lack of a better term, of the space in large. Yes, you want to highlight the staging. Yes, you want to highlight the cool things about the property, but by and large, the main focus of every single photo needs to be the room and then the adjacent room. So where it leads to, what the next thing is on, and so on and so forth. So I'd give the editing a solid 9 out of 10. You know, as far as the colors, the walls, everything. Knock it down a couple points for the lights, knock it down a couple points for the verticals, knock it down a couple points for the, you know, the camera tripod height. I think you can do a lot better, but that being said, the things that you need to improve on are pretty easy to improve on. So that's all for this video. Coaching program's still live. Get the book. Course is coming live. The course is still 50% off because I'm not ready to release it yet. So if you want to jump on the Introduction to Real Estate Photography online course, 50% off, lock in your spot, you can do that now. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.